Hello everyone and welcome back to Kim's Cozy Corner. I'm Kim and I'm in the kitchen doing a little cooking and I thought I'd bring you along with me. I just happen to have a few tomatoes left from the garden. These tomatoes have been in my home ripening on the counter and they're all red and they're ripe and they need to be used up. So I am going to make some tomato soup. Now, I've already taken care of a couple of these steps before I thought about bringing you with me. And so I've already cored the tomatoes. They still have skin on them. I also had a few peppers left over from the garden, so I put the peppers in here. So these are like bell peppers, sweet peppers. There's nothing spicy in here. And I also took some onion that were starting to come up. They were, growing, not eyes, but, they were starting to have green tops put on them. So I took those onion, I cut those up, and for the tomatoes, onions, and pepper, I lightly put some olive oil and kind of mixed them up in olive oil and just put just a teeny little bit of salt on them. And I am now going to put them in the oven to cook for probably 30 to 40 minutes. And so we're going to roast everything up really good to make this tomato soup. So I have the oven set to 400, and I'm not sure if 400 is the right temperature or not, but we're going to start at 400. And I will see you back here in about 30 to 40 minutes once they've been roasted and they're nice and soft. Okay, it's been 40 minutes. Let's see how our tomatoes, onion, and peppers are doing. So the peppers and onion are perfect. They are done. They got a little char on them. We'll take that out. The tomatoes, I want a little more char than that. So I'm going to put it back in. And I'm going to put it on broil. But I'm going to stand right here and watch it. I don't want to lose my tomatoes by burning them too much. So I'm going to stand here for about 5 minutes and we'll pull it back out. Okay, it's been about 5 minutes. I've already turned the oven off. Let's pull out these roasted tomatoes. Look at that, just some char. That's what I'm looking for. And that's all we really need to do to bring this together. Just a couple more minor steps. Now, I am also going to make some grilled cheese to go with this, but let me finish the soup first. So everything's out. I want to blend it up. Now, if you have a stick blender, use your stick blender. I don't have one. I had one. I need to replace it, but I haven't replaced it yet. So for my next step, I'm going to take all of this and blend it up in my Vitamix blender. So let's take care of that next step. So this is peppers from the garden, garlic from the garden, onion from the garlic, and it's all roasted up. Now I need to also get the tomatoes in here. So we're going to scoop these tomatoes out. See that nice char? Now I don't claim to be a chef or anything like that. I just like good food and I like to cook from my garden. So I like to use up that harvest. And my family say it tastes good too. Now this is almost too full, almost. We're going to get it all in there. We're going to make it work. Now, you see this char? You see all of this goodness in the bottom of this pan? We want that. We want all of that. So I am going to pour all of this tomato juice into this other pan. because we want all that juice too. And we're going to let this sit while I get those tomatoes blended up. And we will come back and I'll show you how we're going to do that. Okay, so I have the tomatoes, the peppers, the onion, the garlic, all in here ready to go in my Vitamix blender. I'm going to put it on soup because there's a soup setting as well. You know what? No, I'm not. I'm going to put it on the puree, nice and smooth blend. And I got to get it plugged up, got to get it turned on. And once I put it on this setting, it'll automatically start and stop once we get to that consistency we're looking for. So we got it in, and let's start it up. Now the speed is going to change throughout this blending process. Now it stopped all by itself, and we will get this poured over into my Dutch oven. And you'll get to see just how creamy it is. So we're back over to the Dutch oven, and I'm going to pour this into my Dutch oven, and I just want you to look at how creamy it is. Now my soup is super thick, and I want to add back in, remember those bits that were in here? And I put that juice in there. Look, it's just deglazing the pan. Now, if you don't care about seeds in your soup, you could just pour this right into the pot and you're ready to go. But I'm looking for that perfect soup. So I'm going to put this back into my mixer, in my blender, I mean, just so I can pulverize those seeds, and I'll be right back. So I'm back over here, and this is that juice that I had, that I got all the good bits off the bottom, and it helped clean out my blender too while I was at it. We're going to mix this in. Now it's making my soup just a little thinner, which is great, but it's still quite thick. So we're going to go ahead and add in all of our seasonings. So we're going to add in some basil, because this is going to be roasted onion, garlic, and pepper with some basil, some regular black pepper. I'm going to use some seasoned salt. Let's get this all mixed in. Let me get my stove turned on. Just keep it warm, keep it heating. Doesn't this look good? Now, I want to turn my soup into a bisque. So this is going to be a tomato bisque. For tomato bisque, you have to add cream. And I don't want to add the cream until the very last minute. So I'm going to do a taste test, make sure everything's blending nicely before I get to that step. I still think my soup is a little thicker than I want it to be. I believe the cream, the heavy whipping cream, will help with that. But let's get a taste test. All right, let's see. Let's see how it tastes. Pretty good, but there's no depth there. The heavy whipping cream is going to help with that. It needs a little more salt. And I'm sorry I don't measure, folks. I probably should, but I don't. Now, all of these tomatoes were green when I picked them. They ripened in the house. I mean, they didn't have any blushing to them at all. So they're not the sweetest tomatoes. So I'm going to add just a little bit of sugar to sweeten them up as well. So we got the sugar in there. It's still quite thick though. We'll do another taste test here. Now that's good. All it needs is a little bit of heavy whipping cream. Now I had some chicken broth here to use if it was way too thick, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm liking this consistency. So I don't think I want to add this chicken broth to it. Now, if I had used stewed tomatoes where the tomatoes had cooked down a little more and didn't have so much water in them, then maybe I could have used the chicken broth to thin it out. But there's no need for the chicken broth in this setup. So we will just set this aside, put it away for another day. But I did think about something else I want to put in here. I love red or Korean chili pepper. So let's put some of that in there. So this Korean pepper, chili pepper, Korean red pepper, whatever it's called, it's got just a teeny little bit of heat to it, but it's super, super sweet. I just experiment, y'all. There's no right or wrong way. You just flavor it to whatever makes sense to you and whatever you and your family enjoy. I think this soup is good to go. But we need some grilled cheese. So let's work on grilled cheese. Now I still need to put heavy whipping cream in. I'm gonna hold off. I'm gonna do that at the very last minute. You have to be careful with your heavy whipping cream because it can curl on you, and we don't want it to do that. So I want to make sure that we add it very slowly, not to create any issues in the soup. Now, the other day I made spaghetti with homemade French bread. And this is my homemade French bread. I just cut it into a few slices. And I'm going to put this in the oven and just brown the top just a little bit. The oven's already on. Now, I put it on low because I know me, I'll forget. So the oven's on low, and I was going to add some mild cheddar cheese. I cut a couple slices and I realized that's all I had, and all of my block cheddar cheese is frozen. So you got to use what you got. And I have a Mexican style blend of Monterey Jack, mild cheddar, queso. So it's a Mexican blend. You got to use what you got. I'm going to add that to my grilled cheese. All right, so I took the bread out. It's nice and toasted. I'm going to add just a little bit of cheese, just a little bit of butter. So I got butter on there. Now I did have a little bit of cheddar cheese. So we'll put some cheddar cheese. Let's do one big one, one little one. I'm only making 2 sandwiches. And we're going to add this. And I'm using parchment paper. That way I don't have to worry about cheese sticking to the pan and trying to clean it up. It doesn't matter if I spill over just a little bit here. But this is going to be delicious. You make do with what you have. We'll put the tops on. And this will brown this side of it. And I have it on broil but low. We'll put it back in the oven. And while that's finishing up, let's see if I can put my cream in here and not mess up my soup. So I got it on low because it's already cooked. All the cooking's done. And let's get that cream in there. Nice and creamy tomato soup. Oh. Now I had a cup poured and I've used about half of it. I wasn't sure how much I needed. I'm putting it all in there. I like creamy. Creamy is good. So let's taste it again. Oh my goodness. That's so good. That's delicious. And I wasn't too heavy-handed with the salt like usual. That's delicious. Look at that. gooey. Now, some of that cheddar didn't melt very well, but everything else looks pretty good. Let's plate it up. All right, here it is, folks. Some tomato bisque from ingredients from my garden, some grilled cheese, and this is dinner. Now that's a great big old pot of tomato soup. If I had not put in the cream, I could have canned that tomato soup and we would have been able to just pour jars of tomato soup and eat it whenever we were ready. But since I put cream in it, we need to eat that now within the next couple of days. But 2 grilled cheese sandwiches and some tomato soup, and we are going to enjoy. Thank you for joining me. I'm not an expert cook. I just like to show you what I do with my harvest. So a year's supply, I grow it myself and I cook it and try to use all of my own ingredients. The basil was mine and all the vegetables were mine. The only thing that I didn't grow was the black pepper and the salt. Thank you for joining me for this small cooking video, and I hope to see you back here again really soon. Bye.